Welcome back to AWE TV. My name is Mark Pizer, and with me is CEO and co-founder of Catchoom, David Marimon. David, you are an alumni of AWE TV. We interviewed you last year, where you made some predictions. I asked everyone what are some predictions to expect to see this year. It sounds like these happened. You were right. Some things Catchoom has been working on, 3D object recognition. Let's start with that. Tell me about what Catchoom is doing in that area.
Yeah, as you say, we kind of try to stick to our promises. And last year I was saying that we will be working on industrial applications and finding solutions for the industry. And this year at the show we are talking about 3D object recognition. So being able basically to from a device like this one, a tablet, point to a part of an engine and being able to recognize it just based on the structure of this object. So we use a depth sensor for that. We use the occipital camera and our own computer vision on top of that. And so far we are actually seeing a lot of interest from this demonstration.
Yeah. Interest meaning obviously people want more of that. It sounds like. Is it getting easier? Maybe you're not providing. You're providing more than just a 2D marker to recognize an object and its individual components. But now, how do people feel about this 3D object recognition?
So the thing is that we are attacking this problem quite differently from others. So we don't want to stick markers on top of engines. Yeah. We want the object to speak by itself. Okay. And as a trigger for augmentations, and then, for instance, giving guidance for field operators, so from maintenance to training applications, it's a necessary step as a beginning, a trigger of the experience. So when I talk about interest at the show and people reaching out to us when we send a teaser video, is because we see that they want it. They want it, and they see that it is a necessary step for their own platforms or for their own experiences. Okay,
and like, what are they saying about it once they see it actually happen? You've implemented this. Are they saying this is great? We want more. Tell me about that experience.
So there are a bunch of questions, and they range from what are the limits of the technology to how easy is it to embed into our own platform.
Okay.
So what happens is that depth sensors have a number of limitations, so not every surface has the same reflectance, for instance.
Reflective surfaces.
Exactly.
Must have features
influence of light, exactly. Yeah. So the questions are around the limits of the technology. We are happy to say that we have built some amount of computer vision on top of the sensor to be as agnostic to the device as possible, and actually we are also working on more computer vision to be even independent from the camera, so reach at a point where we won't need any depth sensor, and this is in the pipeline.
Independent from the sensor rather than the camera, it's still utilizing the camera.
Yes. Okay. So we will still be using an RGB camera, but the thing is that whether the challenge here is if we can remove completely the depth sensor and use only computer vision, and we are working on that. Okay. And as I said, it ranges to how easy it is to integrate to our existing platform. So right now we are demonstrating it on an iPad, so using iOS, but our algorithms have always tried to be as horizontal as possible and as agnostic as possible from the platform. So we are confident that we can integrate it.
Some things I've heard are that they want more ubiquity across platforms. They want a platform agnostic. What are the limitations of one platform over the other? Are companies using Android over iOS? I'm hearing a little bit about Windows coming up too, now that Windows 10 is kind of a deal breaker for companies are already using Windows 10 and Windows operating systems. Now they're bringing that into the mobile devices that the company uses. Like, what's the spread that you're seeing?
So I think that the question is not like specific of an operating system, as much as it is about like, can you run completely on device or do you need cloud support? Ours runs completely on device. And this on an industry environment is important because in some applications you cannot rely on a connectivity. So you even have to remove the Wi-Fi antenna and the Bluetooth for security reasons, for instance.
Oh, sure.
So, for instance, in defense projects or in aerospace projects.
Or some scenarios there is no Wi-Fi connection.
At all, exactly, as well. So I think that, and so the question is more around that. Of course, they ask which operating systems we support. So at the moment we have developed this on iOS, but we are confident that we can deliver on other platforms.
Very cool. Other things that you mentioned last year that came true this year?
So I said last year that we would be working on recognizing clothes, recognizing garments and accessories, and yes, we delivered.
Cool.
So
cool.
we are also delivering now a solution. Especially meant for e-commerce, so it's not so much on augmented reality, but more on being able to recognize garment to facilitate a purchase online.
Okay.
Such that you can provide recommendations based on visual aspects. Instead of saying because you're interested in these and other customers bought these other items, I can say because you're interested in this, let me show you other items in the catalog that look very similar.
That kind of match this pattern of fabric.
Yeah.
Okay. That's neat. I hadn't considered, but I'm a big fan of AR, so in my mind I'm trying to understand how that fits into AR, but you're saying this is not necessarily an AR application.
No, I mean, Catchoom as a company, we develop in the space of AR as well as image recognition and object recognition, so we see a continuum of applications of that. For us, and for me in particular, I've been working in AR for some time.
Wait. How long? Today is your birthday, you said. Yeah. Today is 13 years.
Yeah.
This is not just some time. Today is the day of 13 years you working in AR.
Yes. Yeah. 13 years ago I started with my PhD.
Okay.
This was when I was in Switzerland, and since then I've been working in AR. So at the beginning I was using AR Toolkit. Back in the days where it was only fiducial markers. I have worked in SLAM. I have worked in tracking and image recognition.
You've seen it progress.
Yes, of course.
So sorry to interrupt. You were talking about fashion and Catchoom AR and the
we are quite broad in what we offer, and I think augmented reality has to do a lot with rendering content. The underlying technology, if it uses tracking, requires computer vision. Catchoom's position is computer vision for a bunch of things, and one of the things is delivering tracking for augmented reality.
I got you. Very cool. So last year I asked you about what to expect this year. What can I expect you to say, or what can I expect Catchoom to provide next year? What do you want to see at AWE next year even? Where do you see the industry heading in the next year?
I mean, we have a significant strategic bet on these two things that I mentioned last year, fashion and industrial applications. So I think that in 1 year time, instead of being something new to us, it will be a more mature technology that we will be offering and solutions in this space. I think in 1 year time, my bet is that we have a stronger relation with other companies here at the show, integrating our platforms and offering solutions for the industry.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. I mean, one of the reasons why I don't bring you back on is because I like to see. I had Catchoom. It's been around. Obviously, your experience, 13 years. You're not new to AR, so I was glad to have you back on. And I think you're right. I think a lot of the AR tech, the offerings, the services have to mature, and then we'll see a bigger AWE next year, as it is bigger this year from last year. So very cool. David, thank you so much. Thanks for calling back on. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mark with AWE TV, and with us was David Marimon with Catchoom. Thanks.